Hello everybody out there, and thank you for watching. We have another toy review today. The Marvel Legends X-Men 97 line has finally arrived, and this one is one that I've been waiting for a while, specifically for this one character. And while I do have a Rogue on the way, because if you don't know, I've cosplayed her in the past and love her, and I may pick up Gambit at some point, the X-Man I wanted most was of course this classic Wolverine. As someone who grew up watching the X-Men cartoon, mostly on VHSs rented from Hollywood Video, and also played a lot of Marvel vs. Capcom, this classic bright yellow spandex Wolverine is the one that I've wanted on my shelf for a while, and ever since I knew this wave was coming, I knew this was the one I wanted to wait for. But was this the hero I deserve? Let's see, because I do have some misgivings about this figure. Right out of the box, it came on the same kind of large card back that we've seen Hasbro use for the most recent Spider-Man wave and the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse wave. So it was really easy to open up and pop everything out without having to muss or fuss with any of the restraints that come in other Hasbro boxes. And for a Marvel Legend, you get the regular decent amount of value here. You get two different sets of hands, two different heads, and a kind of accessory in the form of Wolverine's mask, which, when pulled down, turns into a hood for his unmasked face version. And speaking of the unmasked face, out of the box, this is the head that's on the character, and I honestly think it looks really good. The way that they've managed to strike a balance between a more cartoonish, classic X-Men animated style and something a little bit more realistic is really nice. The paint application is great, and even small details like the little dangly bit of hair that comes off the top of his head really do add a lot of life to this version of the character. But right out of the box, there were a couple of things I noticed that gave me a little bit of pause. This is a really nicely posable figure with, double joints at the arms and legs, though the arms are a little bit hard to fully bend in because he has such big buff muscles. You've got all the requisite Marvel Legends, hip swivels, ab crunches, neck tilts, and swivels at the feet and hips, as well as a butterfly joint across the torso. However, on mine, if I look closely, the plastic that's used for the butterfly joint is slightly different from the shiny plastic used for the chest. It's not incredibly noticeable in pictures or video, but it does have me slightly worried that over time it may discolor and grow a little bit more noticeable. This is a problem I actually just had with a Jazzwares Mortal Kombat Deception Sub-Zero that I bought for like $5, where the plastic was just a completely different color based on the plastic that had been used, and over time it had shifted from something that was in line with the other colors to something that wasn't. The other small thing I noticed is that his shoulder armor is very smartly molded to the shoulders, but also able to be popped in and out. It kind of popped out a couple times, but it wasn't too hard to pop back in, and I really like this because it allows you to better pose him while still getting the classic over-the-shoulder armor. However, the fact that they're able to pop out on both sides has me worrying that they might be easily lost if both of them pop out. Just a small thing to be careful for. The other thing that I really noticed that I am kind of torn on is the detailing on his arms. Now, this is the very classic comic book inspired Wolverine. So he is a short king, he is a little bit closer to the ground, and he is very hairy. It's something that Cyclops makes fun of him for. So in keeping with that classic design, the design team at Hasbro decided to make the arms hairy as well. This is both a really cool detail, but also maybe my least favorite part of the figure because there is no painting or texturing on the arms. So what you have are these kind of arms that are half rough textured and then half smooth textured over the musculature, which just makes it look like a really bad burn victim. To me, at least. That could just be entirely in my head, but when I see this texture without any kind of stippling or painting or even just a little bit of brushing on it, it just kind of reminds me of Freddy Krueger. But just stay with me here because I don't want to make it sound like I don't think it's a good figure, because I really do. It really captures that wonderful, bright, colorful 90s poppy cartoon aesthetic that I love, and I honestly thought of getting one of the Jada toys reused that were at the same Target just to have them be able to face off on my shelf in the same scale. For the most part, the paint application is incredibly crisp and clean. The yellows used are very bright and contrast really well with the blues, and overall I really dig it, except for a small paint problem I had on the masked face, and that is my other big problem with this figure, the masked face. Now, mine kind of looks like, I can't tell if they were trying to give some light stubble, but it just looks like he messed up shaving, as there are some like little black and gray dimples and dashes on the paint application on the face, and I don't think they're supposed to be there, and they kind of don't look great because they're there. And my other big problem with this face is that it's essentially, while not the same face mold, essentially uses the exact same expression as the unmasked face, which is kind of just a generally stoic, expressionless Wolverine. That's fine for the unmasked face, and I think it even looks good, but I would have really liked some variety, and I really think that especially for this Wolverine, a snarling or more enraged look would have been perfect. As I said about capturing footage for this review, and I started posing the character in poses that were more reminiscent of my experience in Marvel vs. Capcom and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, all I really wanted was that face that was just snarling and wide-eyed and gnashing teeth, and it's not really giving that. This is a really great face, I want to say, but I think for variety's sake, it could have or maybe should have been switched up a little bit. Which I kind of guess brings me to the end of the review. Is this a perfect figure? No, but I think very few figures are. Is it a really good Wolverine figure, especially for fans of the old 90s series, fans of Marvel vs. Capcom? If you just want to have a good classic Wolverine on your shelf, yeah, this is a great one, and I think it's probably one of the best ones we're going to get for a little while that isn't, just kind of reminiscent of those old Wolverines you loved, but it's actually based on a comic book. No, this is the 90s series come back in Marvel Legends form. And while I do hope eventually they do a re-release, or maybe they'll do another head somewhere down the line or something, this is a really cool figure, and like I said, I'm already thinking of maybe going and getting one of the Street Fighter 2 reuse from Jada Toys to have them face off on the shelf, because I think it would be like the perfect level of quality to have that matchup. So true believers, let me know out there, are you guys planning on picking up any of the other X-Men 97 figures? What did you think of this one? Do you have any of them, and what do you think about them? And let me know any other questions, comments, or even suggestions you have for toys I should check out next. As always, thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.